He's the Victorian Forest Campaigner with the Wilderness Society, and he's with me here this morning also. Luke, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jerry.
And on the other line, we've got the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Victorian Association of Victorian Association of Forest Industries, I think that should be, and that's Lisa Marty. Lisa, good morning. No, I've done that thing again where I've cut them off. Need to get them both back up on the line. Sorry, Rob. Human error here. Do I have Lisa? Do I have you there?
You have me here.
I've lost Luke. Bugger. We'll get Luke back up in a tick. Stay with us, Lisa. Well, obviously, the issue around logging in East Gippsland is often a contentious one. And before we get Luke back on, the industry is saying that this is not an area where logging should not be taking place. Is that right?
Well, that's actually been confirmed by government that this area is definitely an area where logging has been carefully planned, and the area will be regenerated afterwards. From an industry point of view, there's really no contention about logging in this area.
Luke Chamberlain, you're back with us. Apologies there, Luke. I just hit the wrong button. You've heard the back end of Lisa Marty's response there, that this area is really, there shouldn't be a conversation around it because it's an area that is allocated for logging. What do you say to that?
Well, it is allocated for logging at the moment, but what we need in Australia and actually around the world is a new forest policy. Science these days, in the face of climate change, is showing that the safest store of carbon and the thing that's going to help protect life on this earth into the future is protection of our forests. Brown Mountain is old-growth forests. You can't harvest old-growth forests. You harvest a crop. When you log an old-growth forest, it's going to take thousands of years to get back the biodiversity, the carbon into that forest. So I would argue that you destroy old-growth forests, you don't harvest it.
But look, if the lines on the map say right now, where are we, the 20th, 30th or whatever it is, what date is it? The 30th of October, logging contractors are permitted to go in there. There's really no argument about it, is it? I mean, the law says today you can do it, then today you can do it.
Well, in 2006, the Brumby government committed to protecting old-growth forests. We've been in comprehensive negotiations with the Brumby government. The actual wording of that was to protect East Gippsland's significant stands of old-growth forests. And I guess we need to go back to understand that in the last 200 years, we've lost 92% of our original forest. We have 8% old-growth forest
We're not
left.
doing a history lesson here, Luke Chamberlain. We're talking about here and now and today. And I've got a message here, an email here from the Gavin Jennings' office. Unfortunately, Mr Jennings isn't available for comment. Quote, the area was not included in the ALP's 2006 election commitment to protect old-growth forests in East Gippsland. Logging is legally allowed to occur there. It is not in a national park or special protection zone. The regulations say, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, whether listeners to this program like it or not, the regulations say the industry is allowed to go in there and log.
That's correct. They can, but they're destroying our old-growth forest. And it's the ongoing conversation that we're having with government. It's a negotiation. We've been in negotiation to actually help identify what are those significant stands of old-growth forest, and we're getting to the end of that negotiation. This was on the table with government a year and a half ago. It was made very, very clear how controversial that logging for the community, that logging of these of Brown Mountain would be. And right at the end of those negotiations, Vic Forest has the audacity to send the loggers into probably the most controversial area. And we want to end conflict in East Gippsland. We want to end conflict over the old-growth forest issue. Doing this now only inflames that community conflict.
Lisa Marty, is the industry at the moment in the business? Is the practice currently being played out in this particular area? Is it, as Luke Chamberlain says there, are you destroying that forest? Is there no such thing as a logging? It has to be a harvest because you destroy a thousand years worth of ecosystem there?
No, I certainly disagree with Luke on that point, and I guess I just want to put it in perspective that only a very, very small area of native forest is actually managed for commercial production. The area of public native forest harvested annually is about 0.12% of the total forest area. And in fact, about 89% of Victoria's public native forests are completely reserved from harvesting. Now, Vic Forest is regulated by DSE. Their compliance with the Code of Practice for Forest Management is audited annually by the EPA, and those results are released publicly. From our perspective, the Victorian timber industry is very open, it's very accountable, and I guess it's important to also realise that these forests continue to be managed for a range of values. That includes carbon, that includes recreation, that includes wood. And, I mean, the disappointing fact about the conflict now is that it really threatens jobs. And there are people in there who are just trying to do a hard day's work, and it's in the lead up to Christmas, and there's at least 1 million Orbos that is really waiting for wood supply, and is actually going to have to shut down next week and lay off 40 workers.
One might argue, though, Lisa Marty, that this is the industry's own doing, that it's failed to grasp the nettle of change, moving away from logging of native forests and moving to plantations, as has been discussed for the last probably 25, 30 years, that if people are in a bit of a pickle now, it's their own choice.
Well, certainly we would argue that native forestry is sustainable. It should continue. We certainly also support plantations, but at this stage there isn't the sawlog resource there from plantations to support a move away from native forestry. It's just not there today.
Luke Chamberlain, what's happening up there at the moment in terms of the protest?
Well, I understand today that logging is going on in those old growth forests. So people have been arrested. There's a lot of talk from all around Victoria about the absolute just the concern over this logging. So there's certainly other moves afoot to get these areas protected. But I'd just like to respond just there, because Jared, you hit the nail on the head. The unsustainability of this industry, the only people to blame for that is the industry itself. It's the lobby groups for the wood chipping companies. 85% of what comes out of our native forest ends up as wood chip and waste. This is not sustainable. The only reason why we don't have sawlogs in plantations is that we continue to log our old growth forests. We do not have a future in old growth forests. The future for our native forests is in carbon stores, is in biodiversity, is in protecting this planet for future generations, is in water supply. The future of jobs in the industry is in plantations, and the only reason we don't have that is we continue this conflict of logging in old growth forests.
Lisa Marty, how much longer will the logging take place at this coupe in particular?
I'm not actually sure. I think that's probably a question for Big Forest, but I guess it will continue according to the plans.
And we'll see more arrests up there, Luke Chamberlain?
Well, look, it's up to the community. The community's outraged at this. It's up to members of the community. And I would just highly encourage any members of the community, if you actually want to go and find out for yourself if a forest like Brown Mountain should be protected, please go and see it for yourself and make your own decision your listeners should make their own decision of what should be done with these forests. Do we want to turn them into wood chips, or do we want to protect them for future generations?
You're not encouraging people to go to potentially quite dangerous work sites, are you, Luke Chamberlain?
No, just to go and view it from a perfectly legal and perfectly safe viewpoint.
Thank you both very much. Luke Chamberlain, who's the Victorian Forest Campaigner with the Wilderness Society, and Lisa Marty, the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Victorian Association of Forest Industries, joining me there, talking about the disputes about logging in parts of East Gippsland. The Minister, Gavin Jennings, says, I'll just repeat, not available for comment today, which is disappointing to say the least, but the area was not included, he says, in a message here, in an email, the area was not included in the ALP's 2006 election commitment to protect old growth forests in East Gippsland. And continuing, logging is legally allowed to occur there. It is not in a national park or special protection zone. No doubt we'll hear more about that on ABC Gippsland News and other media outlets in coming days. 13 minutes before 9 on ABC Gippsland.
Call now on 1300 295 222 or SMS 197 22842. Jared Callanan on ABC Gippsland.
There's a campaign kicked off in the press this week talking about, raising the concern about what will happen to the standard of